managed to find all of the pride of lions, which I'm very excited about, and they all seem to be here. Now, I think there's even a little one. There we go. You see the tiny one trying to grab somebody else. Now, there are a few branches in our way, and we can't really go and move them because I don't think the lions would like that much. So we're going to wait here for them, see if maybe they're going to start moving and show us how big they really are. But I think that at some point today, either the elephants chased them and they had to move and leave the area where they were in, or perhaps they got interested in something that they wanted to go and hunt, and then they started following it and then moved into this spot. And I must say, they've chosen very well because there's a nice cool breeze coming here. It's not as hot. So, lions, you were very smart today, I must say. You've chosen a good spot. It's very nice all the way over here. I wouldn't really complain. Now, it seems like the majority of them are here, but there's another one that's actually lying on the road. Oh, there it comes. I think she's decided to come back to the rest of the pride. She's here on the right-hand side. There you go. See the beautiful lioness. Very big. I think there are a lot of thorns in there where she's walking, and that's why she's walking that particular way. You see, she's almost being very careful as to where she puts her feet. And now, are you going to go and step on... She might lie down on top of all of the lions and just start a big pile of lions. Her tail's in somebody else's face. Alright, yep. Seems like the best place to be is right in the middle and on top of everybody else. She pretty much just pushed everyone out of the way. Oh, yawning. Very tired. I think there might be a better spot for us to park the car. So I'm going to try and move us a little bit, because if there are no stumps that will give me a flat tire, I think we can actually park in just a little bit further there from where we are, and then we'll get a nice view of them. Alex, how strong the lions are, you ask? Well, they are very strong. They are probably the strongest, or one of the strongest predators that we have in this area. I wouldn't even know under what exactly to measure them, because they've got a very powerful bite, a lot of strength, and definitely one of the most beautiful creatures that we've got out here. Now, they are strong enough to be able to hunt bigger creatures, like, for example, buffalo, and in some areas they even hunt elephants and giraffe, that are the tallest animals as well. So, oh, there we go, giving the little one a bath, but I don't think it was too happy. And you see, that's the typical, it's almost like the lion's version of hugging, when they go and start licking each other like that. So they do it for two reasons. One of them is to be clean and get rid of ticks and dirt and pretty much anything that might be in there. And the other reason is just to make sure that all the family bonds are good. So it's, I don't know if you've ever seen, sometimes if you go to a family gathering, all the girls are sitting together talking and doing things. Well, it's pretty much the same as this. Now we're going to have another lion that's going to join the rest of the pride, and it's going to be walking very close to our car. There we go. Hello. Nice to see you too. Sorry, there's a log in your way, isn't there? Or perhaps you just want to listen out for anything else that might be there. Very beautiful. I love lions. I think they're some of the coolest creatures that we get out here. Now let's see if this one's also going to go and join in the middle. At least this one was stepping on top of everybody else, and maybe it's just gone straight to say hello to its mom. Well, seems like the lions are quite indecisive now. They've come back to the road, and then they were sleeping on the road, just loving it. And all of a sudden, I'm not too sure what happened, and they all moved back into the shade, further into the bush. And then I think I've just seen some of them moving and choosing another spot, so they seem to be a little bit restless to me. There were some kudu around the area, and apparently reports from the last vehicle that was there with them this morning is that the kudu were headed their way. So I wonder if perhaps the kudu didn't even bump into them, causing them to get up and start moving. Perhaps the elephants, and I'm pretty sure they found some elephants, because we did see one that was looking a little bit antsy, running around, tail spread out, because, well, who would want to fall prey to those giant paws? I definitely wouldn't want to. So I'm not too sure what actually they would like to do. Seems like they are quite spread out. So far, I think everyone's been accounted for. They've all been sleeping, some in the first initial spot where we saw them. Then there were 2 here, and I see some of them are moving in between the bushes just ahead of us, but I think they're all just choosing a place to go and lie in. Now, they're just pretty much walking right in front of us, and it's a little bit tricky because there's a very dense cover right here where we are, but I think they're just all settling in there for now. I think that might be a bit of a better spot. I think we are going to reverse, and then we're going to try go around the Sleeping Beauty on the road so that we don't get in her way, so that we manage to get onto the other lions that are on the other side. Because now they're making us work for for the visuals. Not that easy. All right. Let me just reverse quickly. But while I reverse, we're going to send you guys across to the spotted cat that's keeping Byron company. They are moving. The adult females have gotten up and they are gazing into the distance, but I cannot see from here what it is that either they heard or what they're looking at, but definitely something spiked their interest as they're all now up and facing in that direction. And they're approaching very calmly. Now, the rest of the youngsters are still here and they haven't moved yet, so I just want to give them a little bit of time so that they can choose what they want to do before we start making a noise with the vehicle, as I'm not too sure. Earlier on we heard something in the distance, but I couldn't pinpoint if it was a lion growling or if it was actually a potential prey species. I haven't seen anything from here, but I wonder if there aren't actually any kudu or perhaps any nyala down towards the drainage line, but they are now definitely alert and standing very still, all of them facing the same direction. You see, this one's taking her time going, and we've just come from that area, and again, we couldn't see anything there, but clearly their enhanced senses can definitely pick something up. Like I said, I'm not sure what they are approaching. I don't want to tamper with what's happening at the moment, so I think we're going to pretty much stand still until they figure out what it is what they're doing. There's a little one even pretending that he knows what is going on. Well done. That's the way you're going to learn how to hunt one day. See what the big ones do. Now, earlier on, there's a one with a wound on her back, and then she came from that direction, and then it almost sounded like a growl, and I thought that perhaps there was a male down there. So we went down there and we looked around quickly, but we couldn't really see anything from the distance. But didn't we see that buffalo around here a while ago, Senzam? I think maybe we did. Or close to this area, so it could be that there's something there, definitely something that's going to interest them. And I doubt it's Tristan and Rexon on the walk, as we're not really in this area. What are you guys looking at? Yeah, you see she's raising her head now. She can even catch the scent of whatever it is that they picked up. So they're analyzing what it is, smelling. Seems like some of them are even stretching. It's amazing how they've gone from half asleep to standing up, looking around, becoming alert and steady. Now, as I said, what I found interesting is that it seems that it's the adult females, the ones that have gone and moved around. The rest of the youngsters are still somewhat all scattered around, and I think probably the little one is the one with the least idea of what's actually going on, because it's the only one that's still moving around when everyone's still standing still. What are you guys looking at? Now you see, she is definitely very tense, and she's calculating her movements, so you can almost feel that tension. And she can probably see it very well. I doubt that whatever it is that they're looking at is too far away, but clearly when we were there, we couldn't see anything. So it must have approached in the last little while, the last few minutes that we've been on this side of the road with the rest of the pride. No. No idea. Can you see anything, Senzo? Not yet. First lady lions, well, for them to smell or hear their prey, it depends on a few different factors, but the wind is a very important one. The wind will definitely help them pick up scents that are coming from a further distance. Now, in this particular case, and if you look at the grass that's blowing next to her, it's actually taking their scent away from the direction in which that they're looking. So they learn to hunt using a lot of things in their favor, the sun, the wind being some of them, or the most important ones that they use. And they, if the wind is blowing in a favorable condition for them, they can pick up a prey from a certain distance. I would say probably sometimes a few kilometers or so. Probably can hear more than what they can smell at a certain distance. I would probably say that if a lion roars in the night, and particularly if it's a cold night where sound travels a lot more, that perhaps you'll be able to hear it 10, 20 kilometers away. And if that's for us humans, I reckon they can hear it for even further. Now, there's another lioness that's gone around, and she's just left the guys here, and I just saw her walking down the road all the way, and I've lost track of her now. I'm not too sure where she's gone off to. So I wonder if perhaps she's not gone around to try and push whatever it is that they're after in this particular direction. Alright? She's hiding. She's definitely hiding. She doesn't want whatever it is that they're looking at to see her. She's coming back this way, but the rest of the lions are going down the other way. Now you see all the youngsters are here. The youngsters are not participating, they're watching. All of them. And it's amazing. There was no sound whatsoever that came from any of them. I reckon perhaps they were just looking at body language, and then they knew to stay put. It's always fascinating as to just how they know. Now she's also gone around, the lioness that we were looking at, and she's definitely moved. And I think she might also try and join the other female that's also gone around to try and push whatever it is that they can see in the specific direction. Now, lions, because there's a bit of a debate as to if they've evolved to be sociable animals to be able to hunt bigger prey, or if because they hunt bigger prey, then they've evolved to be sociable animals. It's really a bit of a tricky one. But what is fascinating about the way that they hunt is just there's been no spoken words or languages or noises that they've made. Two of them have gone around, and they're pretty much trying to then push whatever it is, and I reckon they're going to try and push it in here or in this direction, as there are two more females that are just behind some bushes hiding. So I've seen them hunting that way often, where they'll just try and go around, and if they cannot catch whatever it is, then there's a bit of a difference between lions and leopards. Lions will try to chase that last little second their prey, or if they can, they'll run it down. Now I can still see the tawny colors in between the branches of the trees over there. But as I said, I'm too scared to move because we might give anyone's position away. And right now we just want to be spectators as to whatever it is that's going on. Victor, lions can have a higher success rate in winter. For no other reason really than the animals being a little bit weaker. So sometimes they don't have enough food, they're tired, they're thirsty, and it'll make them weaker and gives the lions the upper advantage. However, I think they might even have to sort of even itself out, because they also have to work a little bit harder to try and conceal themselves from whatever it is that they're hunting, because everything we see around now that they're using to hide themselves, well, it would be about half the size in winter. The vegetation is very thin during the winter time. So the two lionesses that were in the middle, they've gone all the way down. Francis from Israel, I don't think it could have been a snake. They definitely wouldn't have all gotten up and carried on sniffing and smelling in that direction. I think it's some sort of antelope of some species, very likely. And judging by the vegetation here, my guess will be Anyala, kudu. I haven't seen impala here, but could be that there's an impala, bushbuck also, buffalo could be. But had it been a snake, their heads would have probably faced down towards the ground rather than looking up and smelling. And if it was just one snake, I don't think that they would have all done their proper hunting display of moving around and trying to catch something. I think the one would have just pounced on it. No idea what they're looking at. I feel quite helpless now as a human. Pride, you're 6 years old and you wonder where the big male lion is. Well, we're not too sure, but we are pretty sure that it's not with the rest of the pride and with the rest of the females. Now, male lions pretty much do whatever they want, and sometimes they're together with their brothers, sometimes they split up, and they're not always together in a group like the females and like the girls do. So we do know that at the moment, the big male lions that are normally with this pride, it's 4 of them. 2 of them are together, probably not too far from this pride of lions, and then 2 of them are just further south from where we are. Also with some other lionesses. Now I see these lions keep moving, and I'm not too sure as to what's going on. Yeah, I see one's gone down to almost like the bottom part of the drainage where we were initially parked, and you can see her all the way down there, just really not picking anything much other than the difference in color. That's really the only reason why we know. Okay, well, at least now we can see ears. Thank goodness for those super zooms. Cannot even speak now. Now she's definitely seen something, and you see she's moving very slowly. It's not like they're running, they're not pouncing. Everyone's quiet around here. We're going to stick around with them, see if any action does unfold and what goes on. But while we do that, let's head back to Tristan, who's got some interesting tracks to show us. Right, well, now we definitely cannot see any of the adult females. We heard some Franklin's alarm calling, but in the distance, so we're still not sure as to what's going on. All the youngsters, sub-adults, and the cub have stayed behind, and they're staying pretty much put, and they know not to get involved in the process that's currently going. Because sometimes, especially as they start participating in the hunts, when they're a little bit older, perhaps a year and a half old, then often they spoil the hunts because they're a little bit too eager, and either they give their position away or they miscalculate. And it's quite funny, the females, when that happens, have a very grumpy faces and like, learn, you should learn. But these ones are still a little bit too young to be able to participate. Although, make no mistake, they're still quite powerful. Oh, it's gone super silent all around us. I still don't see what it is that we're looking. Right, we are going to stay put, find out what it is that is going on here and what they're looking at, but we'll send you across to Byron, who I believe its leopards have already eaten breakfast. Well, I know this is not the best view, but we are pretty much parked inside of a tree. Now, the lions ended up chasing something, but it was a very anticlimactic chase. All we could hear was something dashing through the bushes, and then that was pretty much it. So whatever it is that they were after, we didn't even get a glimpse. I have a strong feeling that it was a kudu, just because of the way it sounded when it was going through the bushes. It sounded like something more on the bigger side of things, and now they've all come down to the drainage line and they've had a drink in a little puddle that's there, the cub being the last one to arrive, and now they've gotten up and they've carried on moving onto the other side. Now it's going to be very difficult for me to try and follow them from here onto the other side, so I'm going to actually have to go around, all the way around the road to try and get back down to them, because as I mentioned earlier, I've tried before, it doesn't bode well for us. So I think while they're still lagging behind, and it almost seems like they're going in a general direction where they might end up at the road again, we're going to take this opportunity and then we're going to go around, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up with them, as they obviously seem to be out and about and on the move. So it's always wonderful when lions are doing things. All right, big stump there. Okay. Now, have an idea as to where they might pop out, but it's going to take us a little while until we get there. So hopefully we'll be able to get there, and maybe we'll see what it is that they were chasing. The K9, elephants can get eaten by lion in this area. Well, it's very rare. Oh, there's talking about an elephant. There's an elephant right there. A few of them, actually. I don't think this is what the lions were after, though. We would have heard a lot of trumpeting had this been the case. But yes, in certain areas, particularly in a region of Botswana called Savuti, so towards the north of Botswana, there's a pride of lions that specializes in hunting elephants. They tend to go for young elephants that are a little bit separated from the group, as they are the most vulnerable ones, and those are the ones that they tend to target for the hunt. It can happen, however, is not that common. As you can imagine, the two biggest or the most powerful predator against the biggest animal or the biggest land mammal is not really an easy war. So it doesn't happen all that often. Okay, we're gonna have to drive quite far in. Hopefully we'll be able to keep up with those lions again. I am hoping that they're steadily going to carry on coming towards the road, as it can go either way, and it's quite a steep drainage line, this one. It's almost like a little canyon that's going on in this particular spot, so fingers crossed they'll carry on coming our way. Luckily, I've gotten stranded on the middle of this block before, following lions, so hopefully we won't lose any vehicle parts like we did that time. But at least we'll be able to or maneuver or have an idea as to where we could go. This can go either way with the lions. Oh. Yeah. All right, let's see. There's something. There's an impala far, far away. So maybe that's the one that carried on coming and running. Now, I'm not going to stop for it because I just really want to try and get to these lions other than any other creature. And I think, where did we actually came all the way down here last time we were looking at them. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to catch them on this road once more. All right. Hold on, Senzo. Okay, come on, gears. Pardon me? Not anymore. Alright, I cannot hear the comms. I could, but seems like my radio might have gone a little bit crazy. Alright, lions. Gotta be here somewhere. Right, I believe Byron has left Tingana, so let's head back to him and find out what his plans are while I try to find these guys again. Whew. Well, it was definitely, it was more adrenaline trying to get here than what we ended up getting from that lion hunt. They've definitely chosen a spot that is incredibly difficult to get to, just because at any one point I'm afraid that one of our tires is going to carry on being on the air. Yeah, well, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's how I felt it was to get all the way in here. Now, they've all decided to relax. They're all in this particular spot, and I don't blame them. It's actually a very nice, cool spot, so we'll give it to them for choosing well. We still didn't manage to see what it is that they were after. I have my suspicion on the impala that we saw earlier on, and apologies for not stopping by. I just wasn't sure if the lions were going to carry on moving, and now, as you've seen, it's not the easiest part of Djuma to follow them through the bushes. So I was just hoping to get here quick enough to be able to at least get a glimpse of them. I had hoped, though, that they would carry on moving past this specific section. But we don't always get what we want. At least, well, we wanted the lion, so we actually did get what we wanted, which is the... Although we are pretty much parked at this degree angle, and at one point getting here, we were just thinking that Land Rovers don't really tip over a 45-degree angle, so... But we managed to get here, so we're very happy about it, because at least now we can spend some more time with our beloved Nkuhumas. You definitely made us work for this one, though, girls. 14 years old and you're wondering if lions have gained or lost any traits in their evolution. Well, it depends when you want to consider the first lion, but I suppose if you just want to think of lions as a cat, or that they're coming from a cat family, I would suppose that their biggest change, or the biggest evolutionary trait that they've developed, is to be sociable. They are the only sociable cat. There's a reason for it, although conservationists and biologists and pretty much every scientific person always can have a different opinion. Some of them believe that they've evolved to be sociable because they are so big and they hunt big prey, so it's more beneficial to be bigger and live in groups. And some of them believe that they've evolved to hunt bigger prey because they've always lived in groups. So it's a bit of a, you don't really know what came first as far as I understand it. And I would say that's probably their most distinctive trait that sets them apart from the rest of the cats. We have many different species of cats in Africa and in the world, but at least in Africa, they are the ones that spend their lives in groups. Whereas the rest of them, they do it in very small groups, perhaps mother and cubs, perhaps mating pairs that only associate for a little while, but not more than that. Right, we're going to try and balance our act over here, but while we do that, we'll send you back across to Byron, who I think is loving spending time with the hippos. Well, it seems like at least the little one is up and going, and I think he's getting to that stage again where he's the only one awake and he just wants someone to wake up to start playing with him. He's gone through his grooming session, he's not really that sleepy yet, keeps putting his head up, looking around. So I have hope that if he gets bored enough, he might wake somebody else up. The rest of them, they have not moved 1 inch, and I feel like we cannot really blame them today. They've had quite a tough day. We know where they were sleeping for the morning. We're not too sure as to where they came from or how much they walked during the day. But what we do know is that it was a very hot afternoon, and probably at some point either they started chasing something or they got chased away. It seems there have been many elephants that went through the area where they were in. And then, of course, they had the opportunity to go for this mystery creature that was in the drainage line a little bit earlier on. So I'm sure there's a little bit of stress and everything else mixed up together. Just makes them tired. So we'll forgive them for today for being sleepy. Also, I feel like this is an amazing spot for them to be in. It's actually very nice and cool. It's open. Nothing can get to them without them realizing that it's coming. And there used to be a little mud wallow. Actually, the mud wallow where we had them all drinking not too long ago, I think it might have been last week, is not too far from here. So I think if they decide to go somewhere, they might carry on going that way, and perhaps they'll go drink there. Although, if I recall correctly, I think maybe the elephants damaged it. Hello, little one. Now, if you're wondering about the car noises, there's obviously another vehicle of guests that we had to guide in, and it's a tricky spot. It's not an easy one to get in, so I think they're also trying to get out as best as they can. But sometimes you need a little bit of extra power, so I apologize for the unnatural noises. Jojo, I agree with you. It does look like they're lying down on a beach. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit jealous. Because I would also love to be on the sandy patch, tanning, just sleeping. They've got the good life there. Although the one that's sleeping to the right, I don't know if I would be that comfortable. It doesn't really seem like she's got the best spot in the house. But who knows? Maybe it was just a matter of choosing the best one. You, on the other hand, yeah, you are comfortable. You are a happy lion. You've got a little bit of sand, you've got a little bit of a cushion there in the grass. Sometimes I really don't understand how lions manage to get themselves into certain positions. And well, I must say though, the prize today is in how are you sleeping like that goes to Tingana. Hands down, he's definitely the one that won it this morning. I think compared to him, all of the lions are actually sleeping in a very traditional way. They're not lying on top of trees, barely balancing. What's going on there, guys? Seems like the one on the grassy patch raised her head a little bit, but I think perhaps it was due to getting annoyed by some flies or something else. Don't really think there was anything coming this way. Now, we also know that there are no elephants here, so it's probably the best spot that they found to sleep for the little while. But make no mistake, even though they are fast asleep, should another opportunity present itself, like it did a little bit earlier on where we were watching them, then definitely they will try and pursue it. Well, we can tell now that they are definitely on the hunt and they're looking for food. They're not looking particularly skinny, but they are looking like they're ready to get their next meal. So I'm pretty sure that tonight they're going to pretty much go wherever opportunity takes them. Now, in this particular spot where we're in, it's quite thick. There's a lot of dense cover, so I think they might have a chance at actually succeeding around here and just bringing something down. But I'm not too sure if perhaps they're also going to try and call for the two males whose tracks were also seen crossing outside of Djuma today. So I doubt those guys are too far away. But, hello, your head's up. What can you see? Oh, I think elephants, I actually maybe have even called them because I hear some breaking of branches not too far from here. Very faint still. Copy that? Now, again, I cannot really see anything, but I definitely hear something not too far from where we are now. I cannot see if it's perhaps a francolin that just flew or something along those lines, but clearly she doesn't think that is that interesting. The canine lions and hyenas can eat each other, and just for fun we can also add leopards in that mix. Now, they don't go out hunting each other to eat each other, but it can happen that if they get quite annoyed with one another that they might try. Sorry, I just have to answer the radio for a second. Standing by. Sorry, I really haven't copied anything much other than the Ngala. Alright, well, that's that. So yes, as I was saying earlier on, they don't go out looking for each other to hunt and eat each other, but really what they do is just if they bump into each other and there's a bit of an altercation, then they might kill each other. And if they're under a certain condition where there's stress or there's not much food, then they will definitely take that opportunity. They will not pass on the opportunity of a meal, because at the end, you know, hyenas, lion, leopard, it's all meat, but it's not the most common thing to see. And I have seen it, but it's in the past, but it's not pretty, that's for sure, but it's not their main intention. What they're really after is the antelopes or buffaloes or pretty much anything else other than another predator. You have given up on the rest of the pride waking up and playing with you, at least until it's nightfall, haven't you? I feel sorry for him every now and again, or well, her. We're not too sure as to what it is yet. I suspect a female, but I could be very, very wrong. But yeah, I feel sorry. It's probably annoying wanting to play and then just having to behave and be good, because otherwise you're gonna get growled at by the rest of the pride. But he's definitely very attent. Look at him, he's super cute. Definitely not sleepy. It's almost like when the little kids are in bed and then they